Oh, that'll get me in trouble.
So, don't say mean things about people or something.
It's definitely
I
chilly
love all
today,
of
though.
you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Well, as long as it's a good trouble.
We're all terrible and I love you.
I'm guessing we're going to probably be a little smaller today just because it's Super Bowl day here.
The Super Bowl.
And I think Magrat's still trying to get in, so hopefully she's able to join us.
Yeah, she's messaging me personally now, so.
Okay, good. So
Like every once in a while it does that where we'll just randomly decide that you need a password even when you don't. And we just kind of randomly try stuff until they finally get in is what ends up happening.
all right, well, while a few people are joining, let's go ahead and do our warm-ups. Again, we're going to do, we'll start with those flat-legged or flat-footed body squats.
One way you may be able to invite her in is if you try to do it instead of through the browser. If you go to the participants, you can. There's a spot on there to send an invite to an email address. At the bottom of the participants list, if you bring it up, there's an invite there. I don't know Magrat's emails, but if you send it to her that way, you might be able to get it that way instead.
Yeah, she's on her iPad. So.
Yeah, but if you send the invite, sometimes it might open that way. I don't know. Might not.
All right, so let's go ahead while we're waiting for a few more people. Remember, heels flat on the ground, and then just down and go to where it's comfortable. You don't have to go all the way down. Just go where it's comfortable and back up. Let's get 10 to 15, wherever you're comfortable. Again, the big part of this one is to just build a little bit more strength in those legs and in the knees. It's something that we don't always do. So it's later on, if you feel really comfortable with that, you could look at, I think Fox was going to show how to make one of the shoulder body bags, or if you have a dumbbell or a weight ball, you can just hold that ball or something heavy. Could be even a milk container or whatever of water.
Or backpack full of your old textbooks.
Yeah. And then do them with a little bit more. A good part about a backpack is it'll be more down towards your hips, so you'll be balanced a little better. Hey, Evelyn. Good to have you. Nice to have you join us. Okay, so the next one is going to be, instead of heels on the ground, this time what we're going to do is we're going to still go ahead and get on the balls of your foot a little bit more, about 70% when you start. You're going to go ahead and go down and let the heels come off the ground. Your back should stay perfectly straight. Yeah, you can still have your feet square, not stance, and then you're going to go all the way up, and you're going to push onto your toes, really extend those toes all the way up, and hold it, and then all the way back down again. Most of this should be done on the balls of your feet. You should feel your toes really almost engage and hold you. Yeah, exactly. Okay, you want that because what happens, and it's okay to fall, you want that because what we're learning is balance. So let's do about 10, 15 of them.
Stand close to something so you can kind of correct yourself instead of falling on your face.
Right, if your balance is rough, you can actually hold a stick, you can hold something next to you, your pedal, whatever, a chair. Right, until you get that balance. Remember to keep that back nice and straight. We're really going to work on making sure everybody's hips are under them today. And we have a nice stacked body. Okay? So, and we'll talk about, we only have one new person, but everybody understand, stack just means we're going to make sure our hips under us. You know, that we're not leaning, we're not over with your shoulders. Make sure you're nice and straight. And then you're sitting right into your center. Your belt should essentially be horizontal to the ground. Yeah, that butt just tucks underneath. All right, so let's make sure we get 10, 15 of those in. There we go. Get a little more light, sorry. So the next one, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and get in our stance. I don't really care what your stance is. But now we're going to do that same exercise we just did in stance. In other words, we'll go ahead and get on our toes. And then all the way down, all the way up. And all the way, push all the way onto those toes. There you go, and hold it. There you go, all the way down, all the way up. All the way down, all the way up. You should be able to feel when you're on the balls of your feet, and then when you roll up onto your toes, you'll feel like your toes all grabbing the floor. The reason why that's so important is that it's adding another layer of balance to when you're throwing shots and holding on to the ground. So 10, 15 of them, let's do them. There we go. I know it's rough on those feet. So your calves will start burning. You're going to feel some stuff in your ankles. So again, try to make sure that you don't overdo it, right? Especially if it's your first couple times, you're still getting used to it. You don't have to go, if you have bad knees, you can just go down to here. Get on the balls of your feet, go down here and back up. Could be 6 inches, but really stretch that up because you should still be able to do that. That doesn't involve your knees. You have ankle issues, so be careful if you have ankle issues. But again, what we're doing is we're strengthening the foot, the ankle, the knee, all the way through this exercise. So the next one, we're going to throw this one on the foot cam. So this next one is, again, we're in our stance. There we go. And we're going to shift from front or from back all the way to the front. You can see that same exercise I was doing. I'm like right on the toes. And literally, I can feel my toes grabbing to hold balance. And then I'm going to shift all the way back. You should almost be able to take your foot off the ground. Then put the heel on the ground, roll it forward. When you get good at this and balanced, you should be able to take your back foot off the ground. And then back. There we go, and forward. Now, the one thing you notice is I am not doing essentially this. I'm not going, as I go forward, I'm not leaning. You see how we're going to adjust the camera just a little bit. See how my body's leaning over my foot? Your head should not be over your knee. This hip really, you don't want this butt hanging out here, right? You want to kick that butt underneath. You literally look like you're raising your belly button up, and you're just back and forward. You actually almost feel like when you're going forward, you're almost like pushing your belt buckle out. The other piece when you do this, try not to lean on the outside of your knee. Try to lean just over the inside of your big toe. And then back. Got it. And notice when I go back, I don't stand up. I don't do this. I don't go, oh, I'm down. Yeah, it's that bottom one there.
Sorry,
Trying to just adjust the camera a little bit. All right. So you notice that I don't do this. I'm not down here, and then when I come up, I just stand up. That's not what we do. Your head should always be the same level. If you want, look at the wall, look at a point on the wall. Right. And you're going to just keep your head should always be perfectly level. And then back and forth. When you're done with 10, 15 of them, let's go ahead and switch into your other stance, or opposite stance, and we're going to do that again because both ways need practice. You're going to find yourself, we do a lot of, as you get better and better, depending on where you are, switch stance is used in a lot of sports. Lots of karate, lots of boxing after you're very good. There are times to use it, so we want to make sure that we're evenly understanding and strengthened on both sides. And again, do not go up and down. Try to keep that point. There we are. And then all the way forward. Get that belt. You notice I was leaning here a little bit. If you find yourself, again, that belt should be horizontal to the ground. A lot of work in it. Yeah. Dig right into those toes is a crazy amount of work on your calf a lot of times. Yes, exactly. Right, go ahead on the camera. I'm going to watch. Go ahead. She's jumping on the camera. I'm going to take a look. How we feel? Everybody feel pretty good about those? Good. Awesome. So you can see again, if you watch side, you see how her belt level is perfectly horizontal to the ground. Go ahead. Let's see it. Go ahead and turn sideways, everybody, to me and shift back and forth. I want to make sure everybody's back is nice and stacked. There we go. Good. That's not bad. And then you're going to work on getting into those knees a little bit more, a little lower. There we go. Put energy in that. That's going to strengthen your legs. All right. We expect everybody to be sweating when we're done. Awesome. There we go. Good. Everybody looks pretty good there. Awesome. So the last one we're going to add this week is we're going to add a little bit of burst. I'm like, no, I don't want to do any burst. Okay. All right. So on the first one, what we're going to do is, again, we're going to come off our feet here. We're going to go down a little bit and jump. Down a little bit and jump. Basic squat jumps. That's right. There's a tremendous amount of burst that we use in movement. If we don't practice those, you won't get strong.
Bronis, is your weight staying primarily on the balls of your feet for this?
Yes. You don't want the weight being slammed into your heels.
Okay, thanks.
You land.
Yeah.
Land straight leg.
Exactly.
It will destroy your knees.
Later on, I'm going to show everybody again. This is the reason why things like box jumps and things like that are used quite a bit in a lot of sports. We see it in basketball. We see it in boxing, all of those. Burst out of the legs, out of the ground is power. Alfwin, square up that back a little bit. And roll onto those toes. Make sure you're nice. Yep, perfectly square. There you go. Good. Nice job, Sigrid. Exactly. Nice and square. Good, Germanicus. That's the way. Yeah. Good. Hey, you. Good. That's it. You can feel that energy really driving in those legs. Strong legs, good blows. There we go. A good start. Okay. So we're nice and warm. We got a little bit of work in our legs done. We're going to keep adding a few things to build more power in our legs later. But all of these exercises we're going to go through are going to be using legs. So Saib's going to go ahead and take control, and we're going to try it from the other way so you can see her feet more. So if you have a ladder or something on the ground, even if you don't have a ladder, you can still do this across the room and back. Don't worry too much about the space. Just figure out your ladder. Imagine your ladder being about a foot. Okay? So go ahead, Saib.
Can't hear.
Sorry, it's hard to hear you when you're talking from that side of the room.
Yeah, that's okay. We're
I
gonna
was
fix
trying
it.
to yell. I'm going to turn the computer so the mic faces that way at least. Yeah, so it is step with 1 foot at a time into the next box. So you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right, left, right, left, right, left. The other way and do the other foot forward.
Right, and then you do. Balls to your feet.
That's with all of them. The goal is going to be stay right. Down as
But don't worry too much if you're first time doing this. This is the first time. It just right now, just get the understanding of it. Later, as you feel better and better at it, you're going to make sure your back is under you. You've got good, you're nice and square, and your knees are bent through this whole thing.
Stay warm. We'll get heat because we're gonna be
All right, can you hear Saib? Yeah. All right, so
I'm trying. Next one. Lateral in and out, out. Lateral, we're going to the side, and it's in, out, out. Next one. In, out, out. Go the other direction. Hello, hello, hello. There's the, oh, we tell it to not automatically adjust.
good.
Maybe that'll help. I don't
Maybe
know.
that'll help. We're just fixing the mic.
Well,
So-
we're trying. We'll see.
All right.
All right, goodness. Next one. Next one we call 4-step. It's that in and out move again, but we're going side to side across the ladder. So left, right in the box, left, right out the other side. Then you go the other way. So right, left in the box, right, left out the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And remember to keep your legs bent the whole time. Across, try to keep that center point across the room.
This one already goes left to right on its own. We do it backwards.
Got it. The goal here is, again, keep your back nice and straight. And you're going to find that the center of your body actually moves your distance. So your feet are moving, but what's really making you go back is you're just sitting down a little bit. You're shifting that balance back. Everybody doing all right? Awesome. Casey?
Uh-huh.
Nice job, Casey.
That's a nice setup.
That's a nice setup. Hey, Flynn, nice. I like your stripes on that mat.
Yeah, Alpha invested in a home gym, for God's sake.
Yeah, good for her.
Let's just envy her, bitch.
Yes. That's the way dramatic gets. That's, yeah, you can do it all in one space. That's exactly how you can do it. Remember that when you do this, make sure you're not leaning your shoulders one way and then tilting them back the other way. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about so everybody knows. Everybody looks actually pretty good. Some people, what happened, they get that way, they lean. See how my shoulders lead me? That is not what you want leading you. Essentially, you're just leading with you're leaning over with your hip. You're putting your hip into space. And then I point to the 45 and I go there. Point to the 45, and I come at you and I'll show you here. Here I am. I point to the 45. And then it's your hips that make you move. That way you're always stacked and you're always in alignment. You're not sideways when you're throwing blows or defending, which pulls you out of position. A lot of times you're getting pulled out of position and you don't even know why. And a lot of times that's because you're trying to control your movement with the top of your body. All right, next one.
Looks all right. Folks that don't have cameras on, if at any point we're moving on while you're still trying to do stuff and you need us to slow down, just let us know.
Yep, because we can explain stuff and that's perfectly fine. This is for everybody.
All right, so the next couple are going to kind of build on each other. The basic idea of the move, if for a ladder drill, is called the skier, but we're going to start with one that's really a gather step for fighting, as we stole from Longsword. Start with 1 foot in the box, 1 foot out of the box. We're going to open our feet apart. Other one closes together in the box. Open, close. Open, close. Get up. It's a little jump. And then this one can also go backwards once you do it forward.
All right, go ahead and do it backwards. Now you're going to do it backwards. In other words, when you hit the end of the ladder, see how she's doing it backwards. So this is essentially just a simple drop, open step, and a gather. Be on the toes of your feet. There we go. You can feel, as you get good at this, you can feel a little burst in the front of your ball of your foot, and your toes kind of push you into the next box. That starts building speed in your movement. And when all of a sudden you're here, you're like, all right. Looks like everybody's doing a pretty good job here. So how do you, that's the way, Elfin. You got it. Out, yep, open and then step. Yep, there you are. And you can do this in your normal stance. So you should always be landing in your normal stance. Very good. So, yeah, keep that foot in the box. There you go, good. Yep, and then out. Yeah, there you go. Nope, you're gathering. So Elfwin, take a look again. So you're seeing me here. Foot outside the box and stance. I'm going to take this foot, I'm going to point outside the box, 45-degree angle, and I'll step over there and then put my foot in the box. Point a 45-degree angle, I'm going to step to that angle, and that the foot goes in the other box. There is a gathering foot version of this. There you go, that's better. It's not gathering. There's a shuffle version of this. Okay.
So, Bronis, when I
Yeah.
first joined you a couple of weeks ago, you were using terms like shuffle and gathering. And I kind of felt like I'd joined a yoga class in the middle of the semester and had no idea. Is there any way you can somewhere like document what the various steps are? Like,
Yeah, well, I'll document. That's what I've been trying to say. We've been trying to stick with some terminology. So the drop step is a step you use in almost everything we do. So just to let everybody know. But the normal drop step, so everybody can see what this foot going to this point. Again, I'm pointing right to a point, a place. I am not lifting it up and then pushing. I am literally going. I'm going there.
okay.
I lift that foot and it drops right there. Now, what that does is open your stance. You have to close that stance. That's a gather.
So,
So
almost like a lunge, your front foot moves, your back foot joins it.
Exactly. So in HEMA and things, they call that the gathering step.
Okay.
So we just kept it as the gathering step.
Sure, that's cool.
So the next one's going to be the shuffle step. We actually just added this a couple weeks ago because there's a little bit of the difference between a shuffle step and a crossing step, and we'll show you what those are.
So the shuffle step is basically going to be, we're doing the same, like your feet end in the same place. We're just swapping which one moves first. Right up here, we can actually see my feet. Last time for the gather step, it was open up your feet and then close. And this time it's going to be opposite. Close and then open. So if you're going straight side to side, they will just come together and open.
Yeah, that's a shuffle because your feet meet together. So you're just kind of shuffling.
But since you're moving forward, it goes not way across, but just right in front.
If you were ever a 7-year-old girl, we would call that sideways skipping.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
That's fine.
Yeah, if you remember galloping in gym class. It's that, but with less bounce up and down.
What was that one? I was just trying to comment.
And then this one is another one we do backwards.
Yeah, do it slow the first time you do it. That way you know you're kind of getting it right and getting comfortable. That looks good, Elfin. Nice. Oh, yep, that's okay. I did the same thing earlier. Casey, nice job. You're looking good. How you doing, Germanicus? Yep. And you can see when you get better, you can kind of pick up that speed like Saib is right now. Great. That looks great, man. All right. Everybody feel comfortable with that? Just give me a thumbs up. All right. All right. Let's do the next one.
Now we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to add in a little bit of body turning motion. Starting straight like this, I'm going to actually angle in.
Like a 45.
And then when I do my shuffle step to the other side, I'm going to switch. So I'm still angled in. I have an imaginary opponent in the box in front of me. You're here, and I'm coming here.
So what this is doing is taking your head offline as you're going back and forth on an opponent. You're never in the line of his strength or her strength. So this is what they do this a lot in boxing. You can see Mike Tyson and some of the others do this. Lomachenko, they do a ton of this in boxing to constantly keep their head off that guard or in guard or out of the striking zone. My turn. And then back.
Tried something and it didn't work. My bad.
All right. So we talked about that one being the TikTok step because that's where we got it from.
cleverly named because we found it on TikTok.
Yeah, later on, we're going to be doing this kind of with appels, so you can see if the appel is your opponent, how it actually works.
All right, everybody ready to move on to the next one? Yeah. All right. Next one is our 3-step. We did our 4-step earlier. This one literally just cuts off the last step of that. Maximum go 1, 2. And in our 4-step, we would take this and bring it over here, and instead we're just going to go right to the next box. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I hope they can actually hear me. And this one we can also do backwards after we try it forward.
You got a short ladder, just do them until we tell you to do the next one. You guys just keep going. Remember, try to get down into your knees as you feel more and more comfortable with this. All right, I see a few people doing it backwards already, so we're going to do it backwards. Same thing. The difference between forward and backward is just your balance around your center, not your shoulders, your center. So you're kind of sitting into that space that makes you move backwards. So now which one?
Cross behind. Still see a couple people going though.
All right, so the next one.
Next one is the cross behind step. So it is much like that 3-step we just did, but instead of our feet coming together in a shuffle step like they did, we're going to full on cross our foot behind. So 1, cross behind, 3. You go slow, the cross behind is really awkward because you're just doing this big cross step. As you speed it up, it gets less awkward.
And it becomes like a skip. Now, a lot of people are like, you shouldn't do crossover steps. You can actually find it in a lot of examples of boxing. What the crossover step does is it gives you a longer distance across the ladder. Again, ultimately, what we're hoping for here, if I put one foot on the side of this ladder, I can take the other foot and sweep it over to the other side of the ladder. Sweep over. Back into your guard each time. As you get more burst into this, you're going to see this sweep over could literally be, I'm 6 inches outside the ladder now. I'm 6 inches outside the other side. Oh, cross behind, sorry. But same thing. There we go. Yeah. No, thank you. So again, step, cross behind, but this becomes a big sweeping action. Whole body moves. So we've actually done this cross step quite a bit in practice, especially when somebody's tracking you side to side. This changes, gives you, they may have essentially the same beat, or they have one pace that they can go. The cross step actually adds a second beat to it. Here's an example on green flag. So if we're just tracking here, you can see that cross step really opened it up. I'll do it again. Try to start way down here. Here I am tracking her. You can see I get way ahead of her just with one cross step.
I had to do like 4 extra fast shuffles to try and keep up.
So Yeah, so that gives you a feel of why we do that cross step, because it opens up range faster or distance. So you'll find that a gather step gives you probably the shortest range. A shuffle step gives you a little bit more range, about half again. And then the crossing step gives you almost twice the range. So you can see, if you want to see the shuffle step, I posted up on, I'll redo a post some point of it, but Muhammad Ali does his shuffle step. There's another couple of great fighters that do the shuffle step while they're going out of blows. That way they can move far and faster away from their opponent on angles. This is a good one, just like you can see Side doing right here. Go ahead, do it again. So if you're on the side of your ladder, you can see, start out at your foot at one of the ladder joints, and then see, there's the gather step, and you can see where you jump to. Then you can do a shuffle step.
Shuffle step from a normal stance doesn't really.
No, go ahead and get in your normal stance, though. I mean, fighter stance. There. So remember,
Shuffling without crossing.
right, but what happens in that shuffle is what you can do is, as this hits here, you let go. Right? Not really, because you're letting go earlier than a cross step. There you go. So you can get a little bit farther with that shuffle because your body is creating. And then you add a big cross step, you get that swinging foot. And you can see on the ladder the distance that's changed. So this is something that you can do if you don't have a lot of room. You can just go up and down the side of the ladder as well. And you can kind of get a feel. Because if I did just gathering steps, so it takes her about 5 gathering steps to get across the garage. Do it again. Yep, shuffle. Remember the shuffle is get a little swing in there. And that's about 4.5.
Yep.
And this is the cross step, just so you can see it. So three cross steps to get across the ground. So that gives you an idea of why that footwork changes and how it changes distance. Does that make sense? I'm hoping everybody gets the reason why we're doing the 3 different types of footwork here.
In other words, that's the teleport step.
What? What's that?
That's the teleport step.
You're kind of coming in mumbled. I apologize.
The teleport step.
Oh, the teleport step, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that one's not a ladder deal.
All right.
Other steps we did earlier, we're going to do them, but now we're going to do them bigger. And we're going to completely just go over the ladder, one side to the other.
You got it. So if you can't go over the ladder, then just do it from just inside to the other end. But the idea is always land back in your stance with width between your feet. Don't land back with your feet together. This is not how we fight. Nice, Hufflin. That's the way to do it. That's the way to work it, Dramaticus. So remember, Casey, make sure you have your feet wide at the end of those.
Yeah.
You should be landing back into your stance.
Yeah, a little back that said fuck you, so let me start you out.
Yeah, this is good, though. You're working with what you got over there, which is really good. That's it. Now, Elfin, I want you to do that same thing back at me, but I want you to drop into your stance a little bit harder, a little bit more, like 2 or 3 inches. Like if you're actually, think of the guy right in front of you. There you go. Don't jump up, just fall. There we go. Yep, fall right sideways. Yes, that's it. You can see how that fall allows you to move. Yes, it's all in your hips. You got it. Better,
If I'm
Casey.
doing some really nasty, like doing some really nasty moguls off foot at Tahoe.
Yeah. Yeah, the hips that make a huge deal on this. It's the hips lead you. You're just falling into that next spot. That's why a lot of times I say, here I am. I literally have a point down to the ground where I think my foot's going to hit, and then I fall right to that point. And then if it's behind me, okay, I do the same thing. So we're going to do this backwards. That's it. As you feel more and more comfortable with this, you start checking things out, like if your knees are bent, if your feet are coming together instead of being in stance. Check all of those things out. And then, as you get really good at these and you're comfortable, you're going to try to get faster inside of them. All right.
Honest, faster by taking smaller steps or faster by doing it faster?
Faster by doing it faster. So when you do it faster, you have to learn to move your center of balance faster.
Okay.
Right? So here I am. So you just have to get comfortable with shifting your balance faster.
Okay, thanks. Oops.
And some of that comes just by getting deeper in your stance. You'll get more power generation from the ground, so it'll allow you to do it a little faster.
Okie dokie.
All right, next one.
Oh, next one. We're going to get into turning now. So let me move a little bit here. So I'm going to start in my stance. So for me, left foot forward. And I'm looking at this ladder and I'm moving in that direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with I'm going to do front foot. So that left foot's going to look at the ladder, facing down the ladder in the direction I'm moving. Turning to the other side and get back in my stance. Then I'm going to do the same thing going the other way across the ladder. Front foot, facing down the ladder, then land in a good spot. Turn. I always end up facing the ladder.
Always in our stance.
Always in my stance, and in the middle, I'm facing different direction motion. I'm not turning that way.
Hey, Brownus,
Yes.
this is the one I could do at 45, right?
Yes, you can do this at 45 so you don't turn your knees. So if you have a bad knee and you can't turn your knee quite as much to get down the ladder, then do it at a 45 instead of a 90.
First step every time. After that, do it again with your back foot taking the first step every time.
Okay, so I fight Goofy Foot. Can you show me this Goofy Foot?
Yeah.
I have a hard time figuring it up and down the ladder with my Goofy Foot.
So here, go ahead.
Okay, I gotcha.
I'm going to take the right foot, which is in front.
Right?
Point it down the ladder.
Okay. That explains it. Everything you just did explains it. I was pointing my toes the wrong way, and I couldn't make it work. Thanks.
Always point your toes in the direction you're going.
Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Well, this is the idea of what happens here. I might be facing her, and she's way over here. Now I'm going to turn. Yes. So here she is. So inside of each of those, you may throw a blow and then switch a stance. So what happens is I end up in guard, and then she turns away from that stance. So what happens? Go ahead. Again, here I am. She's right here. I'm facing her. She throws a shot. Back here, throw a fake shot. She throws a shot. I lift my shield, and then she slips over that way, and I'm like, whoa. Now I'm behind a beat. And she is very much offline, actually behind my shield. So she uses my shield as a defense in that space.
As we're turning our feet, we're focusing on actually turning around the opponent.
Right.
Instead of just moving in a straight line past them, which is what a lot of people end up doing. In a straight line and then turn back around to face them.
Right. Then you waste the opportunity. So the idea is exactly like she says. Here she is. She points, and now she's still. Her hips are still on me. Right? She's not facing and going the other way. In fact, she can make another step if she wants. There we go. So now she's just circling around me, and it makes it really hard. Get this back into that TikTok step.
That's where you can put together a whole bunch of these back and forth in weird directions, but that's difficult. And right now we're just doing our warm up.
Right. But this is the fundamentals, guys. So this is the good part. I'm explaining. I like explaining them to you so that you know why we use them, and then later we'll even integrate them more. All right, next one. Back foot.
TikTok is just switching feet, correct?
Yes, TikTok and switching feet. In this case, you can do this just as, like she's doing that's the TikTok she's doing right now. That's the switching of feet. So now you can also do that just landing into your normal stance like a shuffle. But this next stance, she's doing a 90 or a 90 degree, and she's going to take her back foot. And then it's all the way back into stance. The key in this one is always check your stance at the end. I have a bad habit of switching feet.
You really want to challenge yourself. Switch your stance to whatever would be funny foot for you.
And do it
the other way. And watch your brain fall apart the first time you try. It's really funny. I definitely switched my stance every time. I had to stop and reset. I couldn't figure out what foot to move. It was great.
And again, the reason why we do it both ways, funny foot, not funny foot, is we never really know where we might be when we're fighting an opponent. We want to make sure that we take opportunities to utilize whatever footwork we need to be in. That one gets me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I know this is a hard one, ain't it? Great. All right, so let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it all funny-footed, whatever, switch stance essentially, and do it again. Make sure you got each of those. Do the ladder a couple more times, and then we're going to do the next one.
So now,
If you finish early, do it again faster.
You are. Yay! Awesome background. All right. All right. We do more jack jumps. So, start in stance, or no, start with the foot in the direction you're moving. To my right foot forward. Jump in and out.
That jab step, so yeah, keep doing it. So it doesn't have to be an up and down, so make sure you're not bobbing up and down too much. What you're doing is, again, this is like a drop step. So here I am, my foot's in the box. Excuse me, I'll do it backwards here. Foot's in the box, I'm gonna go to that next box. I'm just literally dropping it in the box and gathering that back foot. So be careful not to do it this way. Don't jump up and down and do it. It's back, forward. When you go back, it should be down into that hip. Forward, back, and then forward. And keeping a nice flat way as much as possible. This jab step is used a lot of times to increase tension in your opponent and break their timing. That's the big piece is what happens when you do this fast. Sometimes you just do this. And you get your butt in and out, but your shoulders are in the same place. As you get better and better, my shoulders go in, my shoulders go out. In, out, in, out.
The other thing to watch is don't end up turning sideways and jumping side to side. It's easier, and it's what a lot of boxers do, but we're trying to stay forward.
That way, here she is, and then she's back. You got it. That way her feet are always facing me. Depending on your normal hip angle, the trick is just always keep your normal hip angle. All right.
So next one we're gonna do is the switch foot. Start with 1 foot forward and 1 foot out, and we just switch them. We go to the next box and we do it again.
Yeah.
These should be bent through all these drills.
All right, next one. While we're being all jumpy, we're gonna do hopscotch. That's what it sounds like. Up.
So remember, the key in this one is look across the room at a point on the door or on whatever on the wall and try not to let your head go up and down. So it's not like a jumping jack. You got it. You got it.
How we doing? We got anyone still going? Yep, we'll give it a second.
Everybody working on this thing yet? Give me a thumbs up. All right. Okay, next one.
We're gonna do that same jab jump, but we're gonna go forward 2 rungs on the ladder. We're gonna jump back only once. So it's an uneven version of the jump that we just do it. Here's the right, and pull it back.
Again, make sure when you jab that your front foot doesn't turn in. See how her front foot just still, she keeps like me, she keeps her hips straight at her opponent. So her front foot should be essentially almost a little outside, turned out. She'll do it on the way back here. Watch. There she is. 2 steps and then back 1. 2 steps and back. A good way Cy found out to keep that front foot from turning is really concentrate on the back foot. See why I really practice pushing those toes, right? Because now we're twisting this front foot, and then we push with that back foot as we're pushing straight forward. The head again is trying not to rise.
Sivrid and William, your focus is on your front leg, not your back leg. So you are linear and crooked. You have to push the back hip, drive with the back foot.
So I was pushing with the back foot, so I'm confused a little bit. So
Where to get that?
What it looks like is the lunge. See it? See the crooked? See the how in line his heels are? It's better now. Yeah. See how his hips are more straightforward now?
okay, it's rotating. It's fighting with the hips square versus hips rotated, right? Okay.
Yes, that's a better description.
So, Elfwin, that mat is super cool, and I really want to know where you bought it, but you can share later. do your thing right now.
Yeah, Rumble, I think that's a holdover from fencing, from strip fencing, because with that you rotate your back foot and you rotate your hips. So thank you.
Yeah, it's just hockey tape on a regular mat.
Oh, made it yourself. Even better. What kind of mat? What kind of material is this?
From Synergy.
Oh, okay. That is super neat. Any ideas out there is a way for people to do this, especially in stores. That's awesome.
All right. So just to give you guys an example of this one, this is what happens. This is what happens. How we use it in a fight. We do it again. She's at a distance that we're both out of range. Then what she's gonna do, and in fact, I'm way out of range. You can see we can't even touch with my arm extended. So now she's gonna do 2-foot jump. and then she's right in range, and then she's back out of range. Bang! As that foot lands, she throws the blow. So we're going to practice that a little bit more later, just get the timing right. But that's what we use that for.
Last one. Woo! All right. This one. So it's another version of in and out out. This is the fine side one. So you go to the side of the box. 1, 2, 3, 4. So left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And then later we'll do the other way with the right foot first. But pick one foot.
Yes, keep nice and deep. And do it backwards on the way back. Same foot.
Sneaking you backwards. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nice and slow the first time. That's good. You notice that we're building agility in your feet, right? That's what's happening here. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get in your own feet and your own body. Really, you're getting comfortable with your balance of your body. All right, so the next one we're going to do is, if you started with your right foot the first time, you're going to start with your left foot the second time. Much harder. You would think it's the same. Very hard. And then back on the way back. Same thing. Up with this foot.
I'm gonna be here.
Oh. That's the big upper got you. All right.
Drag out a different box.
I'll hug my Bob.
All right.
He hugs me back. So again, in this one, that's the way to do it, Elfin. Nice and slow the first time. You're doing a good job keeping your back straighter. We can still get those hips under you even more. So, next one, if you have a Pel, just put it on your ladder. If you just have a dot in the center, use that dot as a rotational. We'll be going around the outside of it. So just try to, if you don't have enough room to totally go around, then do this exercise just back and forth. All right? This one will switch to the foot cam. For the folks that have been practicing this with sword and shield, my first suggestion, if you're doing this, don't bother. But because we're going to focus on footwork always first. But if you just want to hold your sword and shield, remember, don't let them move. In other words, the goal is not to bop your sword and shield back and open again. So as I go here, I don't do this. Okay? So we don't open. Try to keep that, but again, the main focus here is going to be rotational steps. So make sure you got good steps. If you don't feel comfortable, then drop the sword and shield and just concentrate on those steps.
We're doing steps.
All right. So the first step is going to be what?
Trying to make it broadcast both views.
Oh no, I don't think it will.
It won't. I don't know why.
Yeah. That's okay.
So
We'll just have to watch
which
that.
one you want? Foot cam?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead with foot cam.
All right.
All right. So this is the foot cam. So you can see this. This is just going to be the gathering step, or essentially out. That just drop step out and gather your foot back. Drop step out and gather your foot. Key on this. Because we're going around the Pel, you have to turn this foot. If I don't turn my foot, then my hips go totally off about. Turn your foot in, and then my line is straight with the pedal still. Again, turn your foot in. We're gonna practice this all the way around. All the way around in your stance. And you can see sides really jumping into those. Getting that nice push as she's falling. She gets a push with gathering push. And you can see she's going the other way around now. Good. So, first way around, and the second one, the same thing. Once again, I'm going to do it one more time around to the right. Okay. Now, we're going to do it to the left or the other direction. Doesn't matter what it's going to be. Again, same thing. You're going to turn that foot. You can see my foot turns. Here's my foot not turning. Start to see my toes. Here's my foot turning. You see my foot points at the lapel. And then I just gather. Point at the lapel and gather. Point at the lapel and gather. Okay? Here, I'll do it a little farther over here. Here I am. Point and gather. So you're actually physically turning that foot in when you land. And you're going to do it all the way around the foot. Great. This one's easy to look down. So if you have a lapel, try to look in its eyes. There you go. That's better. Alpha, that was. Let's do it again. This drop step. There you go. Good. Yes. And just make yes. That's the way. You notice your hips are always facing them now. All right, William. Let's see how you guys are doing with those sword and shields.
We're adjusting something out of the way.
What do you want to look at?
William.
Sivrid and William, you are both pre-adjusting so you can launch. So what happens is when you should be spreading and gathering, you're starting gathered and then spreading. So take your stance. Don't pre-gather. Take your stance. Now, take the long step with your shield foot and then correct with the other one. Right. Don't overcorrect so it goes behind so you could lunge more on the next step. Keep your mind on where you are, not the next motion.
There you go.
In the moment, let's see.
After each time you draw your feet in, you should be in your stance.
Look at Germanicus and be jealous of his weather.
Oh yeah, and and you're looking good there. Your feet are looking pretty good. Awesome, Germanicus. All right. Next step. So this is going to be the single crossover step. Now this could be a crossover step if you want it for distance, or it could be a single crossover step where you just almost like it's a shuffle step. But we tend to do it as a distance step. Again, the foot this time instead of, whoops, let me get in the space you guys can see me. There we go. Here I am. Instead of dropping out, I'm swinging this foot across.
You're still moving that way the whole time.
Right. So you notice when I do this, again, I turn my foot. Here I am. Cross, and then I'm facing my foot. And then the other way, the foot's going to go behind. Again, always turning my feet towards the opponent, or outside the opponent. So again, if you tend to essentially, go ahead, do it again. You okay, Alflin? That one looked like it hurt the knee a little bit. Okay, good. There we go. You can see side. Again, the good part about this is it's a longer step. So where a gather step is just going to go back and forth in front of the pel, you'll do this around the pel. It's much bigger. Makes it harder for your opponent. All the way around and then back. Just do it, Phil. I'll tell you, keep doing it until I tell you you're done. Hey, see how you doing over there? And just not being nice on your knee?
It's not hurting, it just feels weak.
Okay, all right. So just do them slow, really slow.
I'm doing it slow and I'm not bending as much.
Okay, that's fine. We're still building your strength, so. Good. Later on, not only will we have sword and shield, but we'll throw blows as we're going around the pelt doing these. So if you're already to that point, remember that the object is sword and shield's always in a perfect place. As that foot touches, you're throwing and then gathering in place. So just remember that from the past. For now, with sword and shield, do this exercise and make sure that your sword and shield isn't gaping. That gap isn't creating more, or you're dropping your hand or dropping that shield on your movement.
Okay, I just got dizzy.
That's it. Nice, Casey. That's the way to do it. Nice and slow. You're looking good. Throwing this sword shield. I'm going to show you this one. Do it overhead there. We're going to get you a better one. All right. Yeah. I didn't say. So on this again, here I do that sweet foot cross, bang. The sword always comes back, and then on the way back, do a back strike, do a front, back, front, right? However you want to do this. But try to keep very consistent with your shield defense. Don't let it wander. Again, if you're in a house that you can't swing your sword, you can just use a small stick. That same timing works. feet, throw. Perfect feet, perfect throw. Perfect feet, perfect throw. And then later, those will come together a little bit. One more minute here, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to now do probably the hardest one. All right, so the next one. Are you guys ready? Here we go. So the next one's a little bit like the Lomachenko. Now we're going to combine a gathering step with a crossover step. We add a little bit of a change depending on, and Bess, you may have to change your feet a little bit for this, depending on which way you go. We found that crossing your front foot, essentially not stepping, we do back crosses on all of these. So this is going to be, we'll go this way. Step. So you're going to step forward a little bit. Right. So here she goes again. The first one covers to the line. Now she swings her back foot and crossover and then adjusts. What you're doing is you're essentially clearing the sweeping back foot, which allows you to get that distance. The other way, you don't have to worry about it because the foot's already on the line. So let's do the other way first for everybody. So you're going to step, go the other step on the line, do a front foot, and then sweep back. Watch her again. Step, sweep, step, sweep. And that step doesn't have to be too big. In fact, you don't want it too big. You want it, don't want it as big as a giant gathering step. Just make it about a foot, just a little, because it gets your momentum going, and then you get a big sweep. Okay? Yep. There you go. So everybody just step all the time. Now remember, first one is a step about 6 inches out with your forward leg. Elvin, you're going to go to your right first. Yep. So watch when you go to your right. I'm going to do it for you. Watch for a second right on me. Take this back foot. Step 6 inches out. That step is also, again, I'm not reaching for it. You notice my body's going that way already. Step, and then you can sweep this back. You should have good space now, because I'm stepping forward. Step, turning towards the dummy, sweep. Step, sweep. Okay? The other way, same thing. Step, sweep. Step, sweep. Okay, we're going to watch you guys again. Yep, take that first step with the back foot, bring it up a little bit, or come back, go back, yes, there, and now sweep back, just with a half a step. Sweep, there you go. Good. You don't have to quite turn as much. Think about that circle being a little bigger, but so do it again. Let's see it again the same way. There you go. Step with the back. Nice and forward, and then sweep. There you go, right there. Yep. Step with the back. You got it. Yep. And then sweep again. Yeah, not yep. That's the idea. I see why you're turning. You just don't have the room. So. Bess, are you doing okay on this one?
Yes, I'm much like Alfwin, not enough space, but I'm doing it.
Okay. That becomes a big thing, so it's okay. The idea is you can even if you're only turning this into a 45. In fact, watch Saib. She'll do it just back and forth in front of the pelt. Ready? Getting this a little closer. Yeah, right there. She's just going to go back and forth. So she'll take the step and sweep, and then she'll go back the other way, and then back the other way, and back the other way, and back the other way, and back the other way. There you go. See how that's? So
Yeah.
you can just do it that way, and you'll actually probably do it more like this in a real fight than you will do circling your opponent.
Yeah.
Good time.
So again, like earlier, the idea is that there's strikes inside of there so that your opponent essentially tenses his whole body, and then you're moving, and he has to turn, and by then you're throwing a shot into his turn, and then you're moving again. So he's never getting a chance to set up because he's behind you. Okay. All right, so that's our circular ones. We're going to practice these a little faster into the 45s, kind of like we just showed you and what Saib was just doing. First one we're just going to do is the simple gather step. So she's going to show you. Yeah. Just gather back and forth in front of the pelt, back and forth. Try to really shift those hips, not your upper body. Let those hips lead you. Yep, there you go. And turn those feet. Make sure you're always pointing. Yeah, those hips are always pointed where they're supposed to be. Nice, William. Good, Nessa. That's the way. Go ahead and do that. You're in the 45. Try to do these at least 10 times. If you have more, do 15 or do it again. Take a break for a sec, do it 10 more. Remember to try to get those hips underneath you and look at your pedals top where the head would be. You should really feeling like that, the feet bursting as the front foot falls, you burst on that back foot burst. There you go. Now you can do this with a Pel. Saib's going to show you again. First time you do this with a Pel, just shoot and then throw to blow. So shoot, throw to blow. Shoot, throw to blow. Right. As you get better, you're going to shoot and throw it at the same time. You can see as she lands, she throws.
I'm looking at getting a bob jacket. What have you just done with that bob jacket? Is that a bungee cord to keep its arms bent?
One side, the arms are out normal, and on the other side, it's like out here.
Ah.
It's not a normal position, and
Okay.
we don't really have a good way of pulling it this way. We can at least get the hand out, because going around and like face planting into his hand.
Or you
Okay.
Take the string off just so she can see.
Here's the string. It's way out here.
Oh, yeah.
You get a bungee cord and just pull them together.
Ah, okay.
Fishing for a coin.
Thanks.
No problem. Did you actually find where to get one?
No, they're all sold out up here in Canada.
I haven't even seen them on their site.
No, nothing right now. So I'm just holding on.
Right. So
All the home gym equipment right now is sold out for a bunch of stuff. So
here's a way you can try to make this. Find a jacket that fits them really tight, or make it fit them really tight,
Okay.
and then try to make stuff the arms with 2 pieces of foam.
That's all that's in there.
Like a pool noodle?
Yeah, like a couple of pool noodles, so it can actually be solid. You're gonna probably have to tape the bend or put like maybe a coat hanger or something solid for the bend.
Right.
But that's about, you should be able to do
If
it.
you've got the sewing skills, you can figure out how to sew it up so that it won't break down.
Right. This is how this is done. It's sewed up in a 45.
Ah, okay.
Some people can duct tape anything, and some people can sew anything.
Let us know if you have success though.
We picked ours up from a boxing gym that was going out of business. We still have never found them like for retail sale anywhere.
All right, so the next one is going to be same crossing motions, but we're going to do the shuffle step. Remember, this is not a full crossing step. It's a shuffle step. So I'm just shuffling it in, and the other foot should be leaving the ground. Yeah, these are your side skips. You'll find that they do this a lot more in boxing. Because you can start getting it fast. Okay? So she's going to show you one more time. Start shuffling that front foot, and the back foot goes. Just back and forth. Okay? If you cross a little bit, that's fine. Yeah, there. Nice, Alflin. That's the way. Is that where you hold your hand usually as a sword? Uh-huh. Thank you. Make sure it stays. No bad habits. If you already had been to this point and you guys want to throw shots, go ahead and do that. Or if you want to use sword and shield only, make sure those are not moving your first couple times. As I said before, it's a good exercise to do with a bopper.
Yeah, for reference, we're using my like 7-ounce foam sword right now. A regular buffer is also good.
I'm going to guess you guys are going to know what the next one is. We're going to let William and Sigrid finish theirs up.
you're done with
William,
We're good.
you're good? Okay. Yes, you okay? Gives us them up. All right. So, you guys all know what the next one's probably going to be again. This is, oh, you're right.
We're trying.
So, the next one is that changing for one, or what we call the TikTok one. So it's again, it's a gather, but this time a shuffle. Sorry, not a gather, a shuffle. But this time, we switch our feet. Right? So here I am.
A somewhat subtle change in the end, but switching the feet gives you way extra angle around.
So if you actually have a sword and you switch your feet, so do the normal shuffle you just did. Okay, just do a normal shuffle step, not switching your feet, and throw a hook shot to the back leg. Right? Now go back and do this switching your feet. In other words, this time you're gonna, so shuffle. Oh, I know, that's okay. So don't do it that way. Do it again the other way, Elfwin. Yeah, so that foot always ends up forward. No, don't switch that one. Sorry. So watch again.
The
Go-
center
go
foot
back.
always ends up back.
Go to the other side, Elfwin. Start on that side. That's your regular stance. There you go. Now, your right foot will be the one forward when you shuffle around this time. Yeah, there you go. Now throw that hook wrap. See how much farther behind you are? That's because your hip is closer to that side now. So it really allows you to get a deeper throw. Yes, you see how that hip leads? You got it. That's a little different than the shuffle. Go. So what Louis was just saying is it's kind of a short jab forward with the other foot, and then a switch, kind of do a switch foot at the end.
So fast. We're asking for kind of terminology. You might want to copy those out of the chat. That's kind of what we're going with. And in
Tried
general,
to
reference, Louis is the master of terminology.
I tried to give some descriptions in some steps so you can understand those. Hopefully they're all correct.
We'll take a moment to check them all.
But
The big piece on the TikTok is that your hips change quite a bit compared to the shuffle.
I think if Louis is going to sit there and watch, he should get up and do some squats.
Make us all feel better.
You already did push-ups and went for a run.
yeah, I went for a run and did push-ups, and now my Achilles is hating me.
Oh, not again.
Your Achilles and my low back. It's been saying fuck you for about the last hour and a half. I've been stretching out.
Balder, does that mean you're also doing squats?
I'm right now doing everything everybody else is doing.
Awesome.
I have no idea.
All right, let's see it again, Elfwin. And Wrongvalder might be able to help you here. Sometimes he explains it a lot better than I do. Wrongvalder, can you take a look at Elfwin?
I'm watching. What is she doing?
She's just trying to get the step down. This is her first time, so this is a hard step.
Which one are we doing?
The TikTok, switching the feet on the 45 back and forth. So
Okay.
It's a shuffle. It's a shuffle foot, and it turns. It like what Saib's doing. Sometimes I think about this by swinging my hip. You got it. That was a little closer. Yeah, that's a little closer. Yeah.
Put your focus, Aelfwin, more on being in the stance and then the funny foot stance at the end of each one. It might help you. What if?
So I went into a square stance to get my feet moving, and then I tried moving back into stance. But I'm not ending up in goofy foot.
Are you avoiding switching feet, tick-tocking, going to your funny foot?
Yeah, I'm missing where the switch happens.
It's a shuffle. So if you think about it like a ball going from the start of your left foot to the end of landing on your right foot, and the ball like sort of bounces in between. Halfway in the middle, you're transferring the energy from your left foot to the right foot. So it's almost like a skip.
Here's another way you can do this. Stand in one spot. And I'm going to show you here. Here I am. I'm at a 45, and I just want you to do this. Push that hip. Push that hip. Push that hip. Right? So now, so this gets your turns. Now the only difference is you're going to travel forward a little and turn. And the feet come together a little.
And the outside foot steps first. There you go.
Hopefully that helped a little bit. Yeah, that's a little closer.
The outside foot first. Yep.
I think we froze. There you go. Good. Good. Much better. All right, we're going to do the next one. It's easier than a TikTok. So the next one is going to be a triangle step. This is exactly out of HEMA and fencing and all that kind of jazz. Simple triangle step.
Out with that right foot and then put the left foot back.
Right. So this is kind of the instead of a shuffle, we do a gathering step and switching our feet at the same time. There you go.
Yeah.
This one's a little easier. Alpha, really good. Oh, lost it again. I wonder why we're losing it. Oh, there you go. Have you?
Our internet connection gets like
It's her. It was her last night too. It's not you. It's her. It's not you.
Oh no, our holes are frozen.
All right, so good. So Sivert, make sure that you're not getting linear in stance if you can make sure of that. There, you're right.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Make sure you don't get linear as you're doing that. In other words, wherever your hip is supposed to be, I want you to do this super slow and make sure your feet are where you believe your hips are supposed to be. Right. There you go. Now step, hips. There you go. Good. You see how you're not linear now. Before, you're over shifting your hips.
Okay.
There you go. Much better. Yes.
I also just shifted into remembering getting my hips forward, and I was trying to fix that first.
Good, good. You're doing a great job. We're just working on little things now, right?
Ailfin, you have a slight dip to get the lunge, so you need to start a little bit lower. Yeah, see how you're going horizontal now instead of bobbing?
Yeah. But if you're having some knee problems, just be slow and careful with those.
Maybe it's just me, but Nesta seems less happy than last week when she got to hit her husband.
I know. I don't know why. See. All right. We're going to move on to the next one now. All right. So now we're going to do that basic
Same thing we were doing like around the circle. We're just gonna only do it back and forth now. So it's cross.
So it's cross front, cross back. Right.
Forward foot stays forward, your back foot stays back.
And if you've been doing this for a while, to work on that distance of that.
NASA, you're looking really good.
And you're throwing pretty good too. That's the way, Alpha. You got it. As you get better and better at this, the key is going to be actually creating some swing with that foot later. Yes. You see how that you're kind of dropping into the hip and it's creating that motion? That's the key. William, Siverett, you guys are looking really good. Yeah. Nice. Couple of throws just to warm people up on the legs. So we're going to do a couple. The next ones we're going to go ahead and we're going to push the pedal kind of back towards the wall to give you a little bit more room, because we're going to first exercise we're going to work on is that long jump and strike. So that's that big jab, long jab step, 2 forward, 1 back. Right. Except now we're going to try to reach out as far as you can. So if you get more than 2 steps, go ahead and do it. But don't let your shoulders fall forward, because then you lose balance and your defense is worse. Good. You're doing it, get good balance, and then go ahead and take the, even if the shift back is slower, that's okay. So 2 long, there you go, good, and then back. There you go, good. So as we move on and you get better and better at this, you're going to put some marks on whatever your floor or whatever, so you can start getting, or even if you have, you know, do this, put something, a book on the ground so you know where you started, and then start moving back to get the book, you know, so your toe isn't even with the book. How far you can push it. Let me ask him. I'm going to see if I can get him.
Too much dust on the floor makes it too slippery.
Yeah. We get the same issue over here.
Well, especially since I keep making new lines with chalk, it just makes it worse.
Yeah. So we're going to do this again. We're going to do this exercise again, but we're going to fall off to the opponent's shield side. All right? So there's a number of ways you can do this fall off. Simple gather step, which you just saw Saib do. Everybody knows that gather step. There she did a kind of a crossover step, right? So you could do either of those, or you could do a little shuffle step as well. But it's very hard to do. So first time, I would suggest if you're doing this for the first time, always start with the gather step because it's the easiest way. You can see that you land, all of that motion changes, and you step out. If you've done this a number of times, I want you to do half and half. Half of it with the shuffles, I mean with the gathering step, and half with a crossing step. Turned into a bunny. So this you can see is a little different because you're striking and then you're rolling off line, which is really difficult again for your opponent. Yeah, perfect, Elfman. That's nice. Nice job, Sidfred. Good, William. Your feet look great. Your lines look great. Nice. Nessa, you're doing a really nice job keeping your hips perfectly horizontal to the ground. You're totally stacked all the time, and you're not bobbing up and down in your height. So all of that is really good. So for you guys that after you do it again, when you're trying to crossing step, just make sure you stop and then just go ahead and crossing step the first time so you can change that mental mindset. So the difference between the gathering step and that crossing step is how much farther you make it behind your opponent. And this is the reason why we practice both. You can also turn this into the TikTok step if you want. So all of those are the same step, guys. That's why I'm trying to make sure you understand how to do each of them. So that
It's funny.
Go ahead.
Gather gets me maybe 45. Crossover gets me 90 off their line.
Yep, exactly. And again, if you can do a good crossover step, then try to do the TikTok. In other words, switch foot, that shuffle and switch feet at the same time, that TikTok step, where you switch your stance and see how much deeper you're around your opponent. It almost feels unfair. You are at least bringing
I'm having trouble figuring out how to do the TikTok off that. I can do the triangle off of that, no problem.
So here we go. Remember that even though you're going to do the TikTok, sometimes your TikTok ends up looking a little bit like you're just squaring your hips. But jump in like Slide just did.
Yep.
So here she was. Bang, bang. So we're just going to kick this across the front. And, or if you want, just take this hip. Take this hip.
So you do a crossing step and end up goofy foot. Okay.
So you do a little bit of a cross, and then you end up in a goofy.
Okay.
Bang.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Does that, you see how much farther you end up behind them?
Yep.
It almost feels like you're literally behind your opponent. Like you guys are going to go right through your garage door.
Yeah.
Rongalder, how's that working for you?
You're almost in the same spot in the leg that you would with an opening leg shot in that first jab.
I think I'll finally be able to throw a shot behind somebody.
Yeah, just what we need.
But you're right. If I do it correctly, I can hit them on the opposite side of their body from behind.
Oh, that'd be politer because that's the side they usually get hit on.
I'll work
Well,
on
you
that.
know, well, you know, it's funny. One time when I was actually legged and on my knees, I actually ass-wrapped a guy.
Yes.
And I don't even know how I got that angle on him because I was down. I couldn't. I must have been reaching something. So apparently he was complaining about that every time he sat down, including he had to take a number 2, and I was number 2 on the list.
Exactly. Nice. All right. That's just giving her knees a rest. You giving your knees a rest?
No, I'm taking care of dogs.
Oh, you're taking care of dogs. How you? So, are you taking them for a walk, Bess?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign off. They want food and they want to walk.
No problem. Hopefully you had a good day.
I did. I'll see y'all next weekend. Thanks, Bronis. Thanks,
All right,
Al.
well,
Bye.
Take care, Beth.
Bye.
And thanks for letting folks know. For real. I love extra people.
That's amazing.
Think about
Seriously, though, Bronis, what I do like is it allows me to cut into their sword side
yes.
as opposed to disappearing behind the shield like I usually do. So now I can put a lot of pressure on that attack side.
Yeah, and way behind. I mean, normally, you know, if they turn and get that basket out, you know, sometimes they can pick it up. Now you're so deep, it's like it doesn't matter, right?
Right, and even if they do get the basket, now they're so far out of place, and their shield is immaterial.
Oh yeah, they're all twisted up this way. And again, that's what we're doing here because we're getting more distance. We're causing more twists in our opponent's bodies, which is breaking them down defensively. It breaks them down really, really fast.
And as a Florentiner, if I fall off to his sword side, I can present 2 blades to his 1, and he's scrambling to catch up.
Yep. So, for the folks that have been doing this for a while,
setting it up so I could record, show me, but I couldn't.
who was that?
I tried setting up the camera, but I had to use my laptop and it didn't get, so I'm recording it, I hope.
Okay, well, it's always recorded on Facebook.
No, I tried recording me.
Oh, good. I'd love to see that. So send that when you're done. You know,
Only you.
we do that all the time. Only me. That's fine. So if you've been doing this for a couple weeks, I want you to see the switch to feet. You remember? Jab with your other foot now.
On the other side too.
Okay, you're working. I know.
Right-handed. The lefty.
There you go. We always switch feet because we could actually have done a switch foot to be able to do this. All of these moves add up so that we can essentially, even if you're at the very beginning, and a good way to practice is if you want to switch feet, start in your regular stance, switch foot, jab foot, you know, lead with that jab, long jab, bang, and then go ahead and break off either way. Practice both ways. You have all kinds of things you can layer there. So the thing that sometimes you can get out of this, even as a person that tends to fundamentally have their foot behind them with sword and shield on the, the traditional stance, is that switch foot. Here I am, and Ron Brother did this right off the bat. We showed him switch foot, and I was like, screw you. So as soon as he switched foot, he was like, turn out hook right into the back of my shoulder blade like it was nothing. Right? Because he's changing his hip distance to me.
Right.
And it was absolutely, I'm like, yeah, I should have never shown you. Right? So that's that kind of thing that little switch feet and things like that add in a fight. It changes your opponent's view of what you can do.
Well,
Yes.
the TikTok out of that switch foot is so much easier.
Yeah. Working it. Right, now, Sigrid, I want that to be a little bit more of a skip when you do that one.
A little more which?
Your hips are not in line with your target. So you're doing
Right.
a big roundhouse to throw the shot.
Okay.
So jab foot. Got it.
Yeah, see how your hips did not come around with you until you started your shot? You're actually facing your garage door.
Okay, let's try it again.
So I think that's because that's your foot.
That's better.
So, yeah, that's better. So you were trying to do a switch foot there with the funny foot forward. You don't.
You got me.
Yeah, TikTok in with off the funny foot forward.
Yeah, you're on the wrong side to do that one. You'd have to move the pedal to the other side to do the TikTok and switch your feet. You remember? Right. So really, you're switching your feet, but on the wrong side.
Right. Okay.
Cut the bar, and then we're gonna do the fall in.
Okay. There you go. You got me. That's me on. Leave me out. Take me back.
Make sure everybody gets water.
All right, everybody take a drink of water, and we're going to do the fall ins here. That's how I want these to be super small fall ins, okay? Yeah. These could be essentially almost like a normal walk for you, Nessa. I want you to think about just keeping those hips perfect. You got it. And you're at that point, get your sword and shield, and you can hold them up and be in perfect form the whole time. Or did he take them? Oh, you had your sword earlier. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the next one is going to be, you're going to put your pel probably pretty far, although Elfwin, it doesn't need to be super far. If you don't have this is a exercise that covers a lot of distance. Probably another 18 to 20 inches of distance. So this one, what we're doing, if you remember that step where we're shifting forward, keeping our body straight, right? And we're just rocking here on our toes, back into the back foot. In this case, we're going to go and we're going to go in that bang bang. Okay? And keep your back perfectly straight up. So you can see my back. Here I am. I lean. I do this. So what you'll see a lot of people do in this case is this. Here I am. They're leaning. Look how my shoulders are over my feet. And then I lose my balance. That's not what you want to do. Here I am. Back is perfectly straight. And I just step in. If you don't have a lot of room in your room, then make it a very small step. Here I am. If you do have room, then you guys want to push this out. We're going to start this one. Just start it with the long fall in, take strike. There we go. Here we go. Again, here we are. Lean, not falling. You see how my hip is perfectly horizontal. I am not this way. I'm perfectly horizontal. Oh, yes. All right, so once you got that fall in, I want you to go ahead and do the fall in with the gather to the right 2 or 3 times, and then do fall in, gather to the left 2 or 3 times. Remember, to gather is just gathering step. In other words, you lead and gather your foot back. So it's spread and gather. There you go. Do that 3 times to one side and 3 times to the other side. Nice, Everett. That was good. Nice. Nice and fluid there, William. Let's see, Anessa. Good. That's perfectly fine. Go through those movements. I know, it's tiring. You're just pushing yourself a little bit all the time. Just don't push it to the point where your knee fails you, okay? All right. Magrat, I hope you're doing all right out there. You feel comfortable.
That could be better.
That's okay. We can all be better.
Somebody has a dog duck.
What that animal is. Oh. Well, on Zoom, it sounds like a dog duck. I agree. I don't know. Nobody's going for a second. There we go. A little bit of reaching happening.
All right.
But that's the normal way that people do it.
All right. So a couple more here, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a couple of lower leg shots. Just so we don't have a lot of people here. Next week we're gonna do a lot more lower leg shots. So this week we're just gonna get a little practice so you guys can get an idea of what we're gonna do. We're not gonna have a lot of movement in this one. We'll have a little bit. So we're gonna put Bob back in there with the thing. So one piece in throwing leg shots is we find a lot of people doing it. You guys gotta watch. I'm gonna throw it slow with my sword. Hold on, just adjusting. Yeah, good. So here we get about the height of my waist. So that helped a little. So I'm going to turn a little so you can see this. The idea here on the leg shot is a lot of people tend to drop their shoulder and then turn this straight down. And so the angle, you can see this angle is coming in at a 45. And the angle is actually going down. The other problem they have is they don't tend to work their feet. Put that a little bit so there you go. All right. So a lot of times we end up being on our heels a little bit, and we throw and we just throw him down. So we get a turn, but we're not getting a full turn. So that sword drops to the outside, and we come back. Drops to the outside, comes back. So this is how a lot of people throw that shot. I'm going to show you something a little different, okay? Because here's what usually happens when you have a shield and do that, is I'm here, I throw, I catch the bottom of that shield because I'm leaning, okay? Or even worse, I'm looking at where I'm going to throw. Look, my back bends, and then I'm throwing down again. Oftentimes, if you hit below the knee, it's because you're bending over for a shot. You know where their legs are. You don't need to do that. Today, what we're going to do is, first piece is, we're going to bend a little. And if you can't bend a lot, that's perfectly fine. We're going to bend. You know how we come up on our toes a little bit on the balls of your feet? You're going to bend, and you're going to throw a little more horizontal. So here, down. I'm not bending a lot yet, so that's why I'm still hitting the shield. So here we are. Right there. Now, there's a couple of things happening, and I'm going to move so you can like literally see right behind me. Here's my sword, and I'm dropping. See, my sword isn't really kicking out too far. A lot of people, this is what happens to a lot of people. See how far that sword's out there? Or even worse, their whole body leans over, comes over here. In this case, you're just going to squat, throw a perfectly flat blow. Your blow should literally, the elbow, so I can show you. Here we are, in a stance, in front of you. Look at this elbow comes across me. See how that sword, the hand's almost way over here. And my sword's horizontal to the ground. Instead of this. Look, my sword, my hand is way over on my hand. But the top point of the sword still has to come down. So you move right, because it's rotational. The idea is push this hand, elbow, push it up. So we're going to bring the hand down, but we're going to bring the body down. And then you're going to push the hand and turn it flat. Right
okay. Okay, and it's from the look of it, it's the drop of the body that gives your elbow enough clearance to get over.
Exactly, and that drop of the body actually creates power. Don't lean forward, Elflin. I want you to keep your back perfectly straight and look at his face. Okay? I'm pretty straight, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's much more compact.
Remember, in between your shots, to come back to your original stance, weapon up. Don't let your weapon start to drop to waist height to cheat the shot. I do it by preparing to throw at the head and then throw the leg shot.
Other piece. The other piece.
I'll have to try that more when my knees and low back aren't screaming at me.
Aelfwin, everything looks good, but your hand can drop lower. To me, it almost feels like I'm punching down with the back of my hand.
For another minute. And then we're going to add one more change to this when we're done. Nice outfit, looking a lot better. Your back is, yeah, that's the way. Nice.
That's nice, Aelfwin. Now you've got that horizontal line, and you haven't lost your body line. You've got a lot of power behind that, and it's under the shield edge.
If I can do this when we get back to in-person practice, I guarantee you a lot of the guys are going to fucking hate me.
Oh, now, after this, I'm going to throw this out there. We're going to add feet to this. In other words, right now, we're delivering with a little bit on the ball of the foot as we're dropping down, but we're not turning yet. The next piece of this is watch the bottom of my feet. Here's without me turning. Now watch. Here I am, and I turn this back foot, freeze the hip, and turns. So what I want is drop, turn this back foot, and throw.
Ooh.
And actually, both feet end up twisting a little bit. Allow them to be free on the ground. So here you go. Watch my feet. Here I am. Twist. That will add a little more power to the shot.
Just remember, too, though, you're driving forward. You're not flailing across.
So hopefully you guys are feeling a little bit more power by releasing those feet. That's better, Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
So, the other piece of this, guys, make sure.
I'm doing martial arts practice over Zoom, man. No worries.
So for people that have a bell, you yourself and put some lines on the bell. What I did is we essentially took the bell and put the first bottom line where the knee was. So anything in here is bad, and under this is bad. And then we added about every inch above. And then we put where the hip was. All right? And then the other person, as I'm throwing, if you have a partner, will call them out. In other words, here, I'm going to try to hit the yellow line. So that's what those lines help for. The other piece, though, guys, is this is one thing to watch for. Sometimes, as you're dropping down, you're bringing your hand out. And what you're doing is you're creating a 45 again. We drop and push straight out. This is an L. Down, L up. Down, bang. Otherwise, you end up with this. Right? We take power away, and our power is going down. Down. So it should create an L. Here's my L again. Let's see if I can get a perfect shot. Here we go. Look, I didn't throw yet. Didn't throw yet. Bang. And that's, those feet allow you to get a little more distance. You don't always have to have the feet, but a good. So later on, I'm going to be talking a lot more about that L of throwing shots, arm shots with the L and everything else. Do it nice and slow, it's the perfect technique, and then you can add. Remember that it isn't power first, it's technique, and then you can add power. In fact, the cleaner your technique, the faster, the more power it adds naturally. We're going to add one here, and then we're going to wrap it up. So, same thing. I'm not going to add the offside yet because I like moving around for the offside drawings. Next one is that same thing. We're dropping. Look, I didn't start anything yet. My opponent has no clue. I can just drop and hit to the head if I want. Not a big deal. I'm dropping. Now that elbow comes in again. Like I'm going to throw that leg drop and then turn it over last minute. And do a little hook wrap. So here I am. Elbow comes in. Hook wrap. So again, do this nice and slow. Watch your elbows. Yeah, bring that elbow across the body at the beginning, even if it's slow, and turn out. That's what creates that hooking power. Go ahead, Alfred, I'm watching. Not bad. That's it. That was pretty horizontal to the ground, too. So again, the reason why people hit people in the calves with the hook wrap is because they're shooting it at a 45 and not a horizontal. Okay, I want you to throw about 5 more of those, and then I'm going to show you the last thing on this hook wrap.
William, you can go a little bit less linear with your feet. Have them a little bit more to the side, your back foot a little more to the side, and then as you're dropping down, now turn your feet a little bit. Yes, bring your right foot a little bit more to the right. There you go. Yep. Try and hit it with the front of the blade first. Yes. And make sure that you don't start moving it forward until after your hips are down. Yes. There you go.
Aelfwin, rotate your feet so your hip is in your shot.
That looks a lot better, William.
Yeah, that's much. You're coming in really cross.
Twist on the balls of your feet, Aelfwin. Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna try one. I'm gonna show you guys something when we're trying to still hook wrap. If you can see me standing here in front, as I drop down, notice my elbow comes across, and then I turn this. You notice I'm not doing this. Whoop, I'm not doing this big rotation out where my elbow's away from my body. I'm literally doing it right here. Look at my elbows inside my body. All right? It's not out here, it's in here. Now, that can change depending on what you're trying to hit, but what that does is it makes it harder for your opponent just to drop something and rip your arm off. So that's one reason why you do that. So in this next one, what I want you guys to do is essentially just do a simple tick-tock step. In other words, remember, it's a partial shuffle, and you spin, you push your hip over here, and then do that same prop and throw. There we go. Yeah, that was a triangle. Sorry. So as you're finishing the tick-tock, you're dropping with it. Okay, there you go. Right in front of the pound. Shuffle, tick-tock there. Okay, the idea is, here, I'll let Ty do that on me.
Shit.
Here I am. And you're going to do it slow. So even if I adjust for a normal hook, I'll do a normal hook. It's going to do a shuffle step in a keep your normal stance. This is a normal shuffle and throw. You notice it's hard to get around. Now watch. Do the tick-tock. She's still around. Right? So that's why that changing feet really works on here.
Yeah.
So it is definitely one of those scenarios that you want to be able to add to your fighting. So that's why we practice the technique, we ingrain the technique, and then as you're building your fighting against people, you add it in. And you try it, and you get better at trying it. And you add it against better opponents later. Fibrid, straighten that back up. Look at your opponent's head. Tilt your back. Yeah, look at his face. There you go. That's better. You even look happier with it.
And take that tag.
Let's see it, Nessa. I know. That's okay. Good. Elbow and then roll. Good. Nice. That's the idea. Nice and slow. You're developing that quick outside wrap. What that wrap is going to be really good for is that outside elbow. So in other words, you'll throw a straight elbow a couple of times right where it hits their basket, and then right before it hits their basket, you turn it over. Exactly. So it changes the angle, and now you get their elbow. Exactly. It's going to become like your jab. That's a lefty jab, pretty much.
I need to spend more time on that TikTok. That's hard to throw into that.
Yep. I mean, and that's going to be the timing, figuring out that timing on that TikTok. Alpha, and that looked pretty good. Yeah. So this is the reason why I wanted to show you guys some of this technique, because as we go into next week, you guys have a base. It's not going to be surprising. You know what you're going to be doing. And then because you kind of already done it a couple of times, it becomes easier to start focusing on technique. So I always like leaving off with a little bit of work so that you guys have something to think about and feel comfortable when we actually practice it more next time. So everybody work up a little bit of sweat today? Thumbs up?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
feel like you guys are still getting stuff out of this?
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. We'll keep it going. I know we might see a few other people. I know His Grace, or actually His Majesty Uther might stop in and do the class one day. I talked to him last week and a few others. So we'll have people come and go. So I apologize if it's a little slow every once in a while. But remember, in the times that I'm explaining to others, push yourself and keep doing the work. The idea is the harder you work, the better you become. And that is fundamental to any sport you do. The harder you work, the better you become. And that work doesn't have to be only physical. That work can be like Nessa was doing. I'm going to throw this perfect rep 100 times, perfect form, really slow, right? And that way you're ingraining that in you. You can do that when you're tired and you can still work and not burn yourself out. But then when you want to really push yourself, get in hard into your stance and really drive yourself, right? Because in fighting, we have to push ourselves. So find those times to change up a little bit of both those places, okay? And I'm gonna keep talking about that, and we're gonna keep pushing that. So I'd like to say thanks again, everybody, for coming out. It was a ball. I totally love doing this. So, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. For those in cold climates, that's not you, Germanicus. I hope you stay warm, and have a great weekend. All right.
Thanks.
Although
Take care, everybody.